In the postseason, but they get the win in Game 1 over the Oklahoma City Thunder, 104-99, and take a big step toward purging some of the ghosts of playoffs past. Welcome in. Postgame coverage here on NBA TV. I'm Matt Weiner. That's Grant Hill. Brendan Haywood right over there. Lillard with 14 of his 30 in the fourth quarter. Oklahoma City had a horrific day shooting the basketball from three-point range. Paul George was never really quite himself offensively. And the Blazers get a big contribution from former Oklahoma City Thunder center Enes Kanter, and they get the win tonight. What'd you make of what you saw?
Well, I mean, I thought Lillard, as you said, was big, but Kanter, I mean, I think his presence, and we talked all year about that third person, that third guy for Portland stepping up. Obviously, Nurkic went down with that injury, but Kanter came in, as you said, played in OKC for a period of time. And just his toughness, his presence, his toughness, his physicality to match that of Adams and that of OKC. And just, that's what this team obviously desperately needed. He provided. His energy was great. And it's amazing how he's able to fit in with this team in such a short period of time. And that was on display here in this game.
He had 20 and 18 boards, 7 of those on the offensive end.
Yeah, I agree with Grant. I think Kanter was the story of the game. We always talk about this backcourt. We talk about Lillard and McCollum, but the story today was Enes Kanter, and he made countless plays time and time again. Had some huge offensive rebounds down the stretch. Some of them he was able to put back. Some of them he was able to kick out as they were running down clock at the end of this game. So I like what Kanter gave him. I like the presence that he had inside. And it was a battle between him and Steven Adams, and he won that matchup. So if Kanter can continue to win that matchup, that bodes very well for Portland in this series.
54 points out of the backcourt for Portland. No real surprise there, but Kanter may be the most important player in this series moving forward, really, obviously for Portland, but really in terms of either team and which way this series goes.
Yeah, I think Kanter is the most important player in this series, especially when you look at it from Portland's side. They need another scorer. They need that third guy like Grant alluded to, and he can be that. The one thing we know that Kanter can do is score the basketball. That's never been a problem. The problem has been on the other end. And as long as he's giving proper effort defensively and he's in the right place, they don't need him to be a lockdown defender. They just need to make sure that he's in the right place, he gives proper effort, and they'll be just fine. If he can continue to give them anywhere from 15 to 20 points a night in this series, I think Portland might have found that third guy that we say they've been looking for the past couple of seasons.
Yeah, Matt, just to piggyback on that, not just his production, not just sort of a defensive effort, obviously fantastic performance, but just his toughness. Like, there's a toughness about him, there's a confidence, there's a belief that he brings to the table, and just that attitude, that swagger, whatever you want to call it, important for this team, important as you alluded to, some of their playoff troubles in years past. And then moving on, I mean, it's a perfect player for this matchup because OKC, they want to out-tough you. They want to be physical. They want to kind of wear you down, come at you in waves. And so he just gives them that sort of confidence, I believe. And it was fantastic to watch his obviously his ability on the pick and roll, his ability to finish, post up. But just like being that last stance, that guy inside that gives him presence, so important. And, this is in a weird kind of way, obviously Nurkic was a great player and someone who was so important to this team's success. But landing a Kanter at this point in the season, and a lot of teams aren't sort of sure of who they are.
Right.
It's not like you have had time to sort of prepare for this team with Kanter and how he plays. So it could work to Portland's advantage here, and certainly did in this game one.
Looked like a big pickup at the time. Now looks like a huge pickup for the Portland Trailblazers. He's not a great defender. It's been well documented.
Right.
But it's amazing
but he had some moments, excuse me.
Oh, it's okay, man. Take as much time as you need. You need some water?
I have some. I've got something.
Okay.
I'm saying he did have some moments defensively where he stood up against Steven Adams and did his job defensively.
And that's what I talked about. You don't need him to be, Dikembe Mutombo 2.0. You just need him to be in the right position. Like, he had a play where he stopped Steven Adams from getting what would have been a monster dunk. All he did was put himself in between Steven Adams and the basket. All you need him to do is play position defense. Be in the right spot. We'll help you do the rest of the stuff. But they need his offense. They need him to be a guy that they can throw the ball into the post. He can face up and get into his jab step series. Or when he has a smaller matchup on him, he can get the ball on the block. I saw him get to a quick spin move on the baseline and finish with a reverse layup. So he has incredible offensive moves, and they need that. They need a guy that sometimes Damon, CJ can say, listen, we want to take some pressure off of us, give you the ball, you do your thing, and then we'll get back to what we normally do.
Yeah, I think you make some great points there, and I think in addition to that, look, defensively, compete.
Right.
That's what you want, particularly in the playoffs. And sometimes you can be in the wrong position and make mistakes, but you can overcome that just by playing hard and competing. And that's the way he's wired. He's a competitor. It is the playoffs. And look, I also like the fact that he's on a playoff team. He's playing 35 minutes.
Right.
In years past when he was on OKC and it was Utah, I mean, he didn't have that kind of consistent time. He was off the bench a lot of times and was in and out. This team needs him. And there's something about when you are needed and you get the opportunity, and he's getting that here, and he'll need to continue to play like that. But I'm not as worried about his defense. As long as Brendan said, he's in the right place, he's competing. Right. The rest of the team and the system and the style of play, it's not like he's got to lock somebody down and go against, Embiid in this series, someone who's going to be relentless coming at you, post up after post up. He's just got to play good position defense and compete on that side of the ball.
And he's not going to come over and block a shot. And there were a few moments, particularly in the first half, where Russell Westbrook and others, but mostly Westbrook, had clear lanes to the rim, and he scored that way. He's not going to do that, but he was competitive out there defensively for sure, and that's as much as you can ask given his reputation. And defensively, they held Oklahoma City under 40% shooting in this game, right, including 5 of 33 from three. That is the worst three-point shooting performance by a team in the postseason ever, with a minimum of 30 attempts.
Yeah, and some of that is OKC missing shots. Obviously, Paul George missed some. Paul George missed some good looks. He obviously wasn't himself. I'm not sure how.
4 of 15.
Yeah, that shoulder injury is definitely affecting him. So I'm not sure how long that's going to be a problem. If that's going to be a problem throughout the rest of this series, it could really be problematic for OKC. But you also have to tip your hat to Portland. They play good defense. It wasn't great defense, but they played good defense. And so OKC has to figure out how they can get some cleaner looks, how they can clean that up. But shooting has been a problem for OKC all year long. Maybe not to this detriment, 5 of 33, but you didn't expect the Oklahoma City Thunder to hit a bunch of threes and hit a high percentage of them, because that's not who they've been all year long.
22nd in the NBA in terms of three-point percentage in the regular season.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's not their identity. That's not who they are defensively. They got to get stops. Obviously, they have two players who are more than capable of carrying the load and having huge nights. And on the road in the playoffs, you need that. You expect that. They had good games. Obviously, they combined for 50 points, but they need to combine for 60 plus. Particularly on the road against a team like this. And Paul George was a little bit off. Russell Westbrook was off. Those guys played just a little bit better in terms of their efficiency scoring the basketball and putting the ball through the basket. It might be a different outcome. And I expect they will bounce back. These are good shots. These are plays that they've made. Give some credit to Portland, but sometimes you're just a little bit out of sorts. And I expect Paul George and Westbrook to try to refocus, regroup, and come back for game 2 a little bit better. But hey, tonight you got to tip your hat to Portland. They got the win. They sent a statement. The worst thing that could have happened for Portland was to lose game 1. And now you start, the doubt starts creeping in. You start thinking about last year.
And the year before, and the year before.
And we're talking about it, and next thing you know. And so to get a win, to feel good about yourself, you can't rest now, but just knowing that, okay, confidence-wise, we're in good shape as a team.
Paul George, 8 of 24. He's been dealing with the shoulder issue. His shooting numbers have come down since really about the All-Star break or so, 5-6% from the field and from three-point range. Do you see anything that looks off about the way he's shooting the ball, or can you just tell that he's probably feeling the pain based on the results?
I'm not seeing like a weird form or anything like that, but we all know the way Paul George shoots the basketball. He clearly has a shoulder injury. He's not shooting up to the level that we expect of him. And unfortunately, this time of year, a lot of guys aren't healthy, and you have to play through certain injuries and illnesses. And Paul George got to gut it out with a shoulder injury, and it's hard when it's on your shooting shoulder. So Portland's not going to feel sorry for him, so he's still going to have to find a way to be effective. Maybe that means turning down some jump shots and getting some closer shots to the basket. I'm not sure what the answer is when you have a hurt shoulder at this time of the year, but Paul George obviously wasn't himself this game and is due to injury.